I always begin this story with a simple question: why in 1943 American bombers were being lost faster than factories could replace them? German fighters were not striking factories. They attacked the Escort because at required range it simply did not exist to the US. Army needed a fighter not for combat over the front but capable of flying deep into the heart of the Third Reich. Thus emerged the requirement for an aircraft with long-range high speed and the ability to fight effectively at high altitude. In 1940, North American Aviation received a contract for a new fighter that at first was not considered revolutionary. Early P-51 prototypes used the Allison engine and showed only average performance at high altitude, which limited their potential. This seriously restricted combat use and placed the aircraft's future in Europe. Under question, the solution came not from the United States but from Britain, where engineers proposed installing the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. The American-produced version built by Packard received the designation V1650 and became a turning point for the aircraft. This engine radically transformed performance without altering the basic airframe or overall aerodynamic layout. The P-51 achieved a top speed exceeding 700 km per hour and gained excellent high-altitude performance. Fuel capacity allowed escorting bombers for more than 2,500 kilometers when using external drop tanks. Armament consisted of 6 Browning 12.7mm machine guns, providing dense and sustained fire. The aircraft was single-seat, used liquid engine cooling, and followed a conventional fighter layout of the period. The first production, P-51 B and P-51C variants entered service in late 1943. From that moment, strategic bombing over Germany ceased to be a one-sided slaughter. The Mustang did not merely escort bombers, it aggressively sought combat with German fighters. The Luftwaffe began losing experienced pilots faster than it could train. Replacements' air superiority shifted toward the United States, not through numbers but through range and endurance. It became clear that the P-51 was changing not air combat tactics, but the very logic of aerial warfare. The Mustang soon performed not only escort missions, but free hunting over German airfields and supply zones. They sharply increased Luftwaffe losses even before aircraft could take off. German pilots lost initiative as the Mustang appeared where it was least expected. At high altitude, the P-51 retained speed and control. Lacking in many competing fighters, its laminar flowing profile reduced drag and improved fuel efficiency. This allowed longer time over combat zones without sacrificing tactical flexibility. The fuel system combined internal tanks with external drop tanks, jettisoned before combat. Thus, the Mustang combined strategic range with true fighter maneuverability. Compared to the Bf-109, the P-51 had superior range, but was weaker in vertical maneuvers at low altitude. The FW-190 was dangerous at medium altitudes but lost to the Mustang in sustained combat and high-altitude speed. American pilots quickly learned the aircraft's strengths and avoided unfavorable engagement conditions. Tactics emphasized speed attacks, energy fighting, and strict control of distance. The P-51 punished mistakes but rewarded disciplined and experienced pilots. The cockpit offered good visibility, especially in the P-51D variant. With a bubble canopy, this improved survivability and reduced the risk of surprise attacks from behind. Armor protection for the cockpit and fuel tanks was minimal, remaining a critical weakness. Hits to the cooling system often caused engine failure, even after relatively minor damage. This was the cost of high speed and a compact liquid-cooled design. Despite this combat, statistics showed a strong advantage in victory-to-loss ratios. By mid-1944, the P-51 became the primary escort fighter of the U.S. Army Air Forces in Europe. During preparation for the Normandy landings, the P-51 assumed a new role: complete airspace control over the invasion zone. The Mustang protected landing forces, destroying Luftwaffe fighters before they reached the coast. Air superiority allowed Allied forces to operate without constant threat from German aviation after the landings. The P-51 was increasingly used for ground attack missions. The aircraft carried bombs and unguided rockets, striking supply columns and transport infrastructure. Attacks on rail hubs and road networks deep in the Wehrmacht rear proved especially effective. Thus, the Mustang became an instrument of both air and logistical warfare. German commandos reported a sharp increase in transport losses after the P-51 appeared over the front. This limited ground maneuver and complicated reserve deployment. At the same time, mass production allowed rapid replacement of losses in American squadrons. In total, more than 15,000 P-51 aircraft of all variants were produced. Primary manufacturing took place at North American aviation plants in California and Texas. Pilot training accelerated, but combat effectiveness still demanded high discipline. The Mustang was not an easy aircraft for beginners, especially during takeoff and landing. Control errors frequently caused accidents, even without enemy involvement. Experienced pilots, however, exploited the aircraft's full potential. They valued speed range and the freedom to choose when to engage. By the end of 1944, the Luftwaffe had lost much of its experienced pilot corps. The P-51 became one of the key factors in this attrition of German air power. The air war over Europe was effectively decided before ground combat ended. Despite success in Europe, the P-51 was not a universal solution for every theater. In the Pacific theater, combat conditions differed significantly from Europe. Large distances between islands once again made range a critical factor. The Mustang could escort bombers over ocean, but was less survivable than carrier-based fighters. Japanese fighters were slower but extremely maneuverable at low altitude. In these conditions, the P-51 required strict tactics and precise energy management. The most effective approach remained attacks with altitude and speed advantage, avoiding prolonged maneuvers. Vulnerability of the cooling system again proved critical during ground fire. A single hit could remove the aircraft from combat without major structural damage. This forced pilots to avoid extended attacks on fortified positions. Nevertheless, the strategic role of the P-51 had been fulfilled before the end of the European War. The Luftwaffe lost the ability to mass oppose Allied air power. This opened the path for unrestricted bombing of German industrial centers after 1945. The P-51 was not immediately retired from service. The aircraft remained in active use, including during the Korean War. In the new era, it was inferior to jet fighters in speed and altitude. However, as a ground attack aircraft, the Mustang remained effective and easy to operate. Many aircraft were transferred to Allied nations and served for decades. The P-51 became one of the longest-serving combat aircraft of its generation. Its reputation rested not on versatility, but on a clearly defined mission. Popular belief often reduces air victory to aircraft numbers and pilot skill archival. Reports reveal a different reality. Sustained air control was decisive. The P-51 enabled bomber escort across the entire depth of the Reich. Without interruption, no previous Allied fighter could provide such continuous protection. This capability broke the economic balance of the air war for Germany. The Luftwaffe was forced to fight under unfavorable conditions or lose strategic assets over time. Pilot losses became irreplaceable for Germany. Even the best aircraft could not compensate for the shortage of trained crews. The Mustang did not destroy the Luftwaffe instantly, but made recovery impossible. This was not a dramatic breakthrough, but systematic pressure applied day after day. The P-51 rarely became the hero of individual legends, but consistently fulfilled its mission. Its primary weapon was not firepower, but range and escort reliability. Post-war analysis showed that air control ensured success of ground operations. The Mustang was not the toughest, not the most heavily armed, and not the cheapest. Yet, the P-51 proved that wars are won not by the strongest aircraft, but by the one that changes the rules of the game.